There are places we were never meant to know about, rooms without blueprints, budgets with no line items, people with no past. Every empire, every civilization leaves behind a vault, not for the dead, but for the chosen. In the early 2000s, the Pentagon lost $2.3 trillion. A few years later, another $6.5 trillion. By the 2020s, total unsupported adjustments exceeded $21 trillion. No investigations, no audits, just silence. They told us it was bad accounting, misplaced decimal points, ancient systems. But if you dig deep enough, past the sanitized reports and redacted documents, you start to see something else. A pattern, a design, a vault, not built to hold gold, but to hold survivors. This isn't a story, it's a breach. One woman stumbled into something she was never meant to find. A journalist disgraced for chasing shadows. A name erased from headlines because she got too close to truth. Her name was Lena Voss, and the file she found, it was never supposed to surface. What follows is her story. And if what she uncovered is real, then everything we think we know about the end of the world is just the prologue. Welcome to the Hollow Vault. By 2030, Washington, D.C. felt like a dying animal, gnashing its teeth while the body rotted beneath it. Flood maps were a joke. Heat alerts were permanent. The National Guard was as common as pigeons. And in a one-bedroom apartment with water stains on the ceiling and blackout curtains duct taped to the walls, Lena Voss had nothing left but questions. Once a rising star in investigative journalism, now blacklisted, divorced, and dismissed as a fringe chaser. Her only crime? Connecting dots no one wanted connected. Her father, James Voss, vanished in 2021. A DoD logistics contractor stationed out of Norfolk. No body, no note. Just his badge deactivated and his name wiped from the contract records. She'd spent nearly a decade clawing at that silence, and then on a Tuesday it spoke back. The file came via an encrypted drop server she'd burned into her memory years ago. A dead mailbox used by whistleblowers and digital ghosts. No subject. No body text, just a file labeled nvxrecon.docx.gpg. Inside, a Department of Defense memo from 2016, already damning enough, referencing billions in black budget reallocations. But it was the margin note that froze her. Handwritten, sloppy, like someone added it in a panic. Project Hollow Vault, see Node 17. Verified. Beneath it, a set of GPS coordinates, Nevada desert, miles from anything on the map, but not just anywhere. Smack in the shadow of the old Tonopah test range. Previously decommissioned by the Air Force in 1993, area now listed as Environmental Cleanup Zone. Right, Cleanup Zone. Always a good cover for something no one wants found. Lena reached out to the only person she trusted who hadn't ghosted her. Marcus Tate, former black hat hacker turned semi-legit consultant for low-rent think tanks and mid-level defense contractors. He'd once crashed the FAA for fun during a holiday surge. Now he spent most days reverse engineering toaster firmware for security loopholes. She sent the file. 30 minutes later, he called her saying, "This leak goes deep." They met in an underground cafe in DuPont, one of those unmarked Wi-Fi dead zones where old feds used to drink in the 90s. Marcus had decrypted the rest. What they found wasn't a single project. It was a network. Node 17, a subterranean facility buried beneath the Nevada rock, designed to be self-sustaining, sealed, and connected to at least 169 other sites, each referred to as nodes. each built beneath ocean trenches, remote deserts, tectonic fault lines, and even, allegedly, major cities, all tied together by a high-speed maglev system not acknowledged by any known transit authority. Fully autonomous, AI monitored, and empty, but not abandoned, waiting. As they traced the metadata in the files, the shadows began to move. Drones began appearing above Lena's building. Her bank flagged unusual login attempts from inside Virginia. Marcus's VPN accounts began vanishing overnight, and Lena's front door, a scratch mark just beneath the handle, barely visible, fresh. Someone was watching. Someone who didn't want them following that signal into the desert. But they did. They drove out under cover of night, 2 hours west of Tonopah, armed with fake permits and environmental sampling gear. The GPS ping led them to what looked like an abandoned mining claim, fencing warped by sandstorms, a rusted sign in Spanish warning about radiation, and there, half buried in rubble and gravel, a blast door, hidden behind what looked like the remnants of a mine shaft, brushed clean just enough to reveal the card reader, and on the ground, a key card, matte black, no label, just a circle, perfect hollow, etched into the surface. When Lena picked it up, it was warm. Something unlocked, and the deeper they went, the clearer it became. The vault wasn't just real. It was built for them, but it was waiting for someone else. The door didn't open all at once. It exhaled, like something holding its breath for decades had just released it. Beyond the entrance was a tunnel, polished metal walls, embedded lights blinking in sequence like a path lighting itself just for them. And deeper still, an elevator, industrial, unmarked, the kind that doesn't ask for a floor because there's only one direction to go. They descended for almost 6 minutes, straight down, no signal, no noise, just the hum of machinery, ancient and yet immaculate. When the doors opened, they weren't underground anymore. It looked like a sunrise inside a canyon. Blue sky projected on a massive vaulted ceiling, artificial sunlight bathing hydroponic towers in gold. This was Node 17, not a bunker, not a base, a city. Apartments built into the rock walls like hive cells. Central plaza with a fountain, water flowing crystal clear, recycling itself endlessly. Automated drones tending gardens of engineered crops, bioluminescent trees. Perfectly silent rail systems gliding by with no passengers. A living system with no people, or so it seemed. The place was sealed tight, AI-controlled, temperature-regulated, off-grid, and entirely self-sustaining. It wasn't designed to be found. It was designed to be occupied. Screens flickered to life as they passed, cameras tracking movement, system prompts activating in multiple languages. Welcome, Tier 3 resident. Please report to medical intake for biosync. They weren't just visitors. They were now recognized. Marcus found a server room buried in the city's core, racks of quantum storage banks, silently whirring. He broke through their local network and found a map, a real-time status display of the node system. 170 vaults, each still online, each labeled by operational status. Node 1, Prime, active. Node 6, Pacific Trench, flood ready. Node 42, Berlin, standby. Node 68, DC, Capital Hub, sealed. Some beneath oceans, some under tectonic plates, some underneath cities still asleep to their own foundations. That was when Lena found the archive, a voice print-locked room accessed by her key card. Inside, rows of monitors, paper records too, printed backups, and a logo burned into the wall above it all. A circle, hollow, surrounded by 5 symbols: a torch, a lock, a crown, a tree, and a skull. Project Hollow Vault. There it was, the entire purpose of the nodes. A continuity program, decades in the making, designed to shelter the elite, heads of state, tech oligarchs, military brass, and scientific minds deemed vital for rebuilding society. A list of 10,000 names, no elections, no lottery, only clearance. The vaults were stocked to run for centuries. Self-repairing infrastructure, genetic seed banks, artificial intelligence stewards. And they were never intended to rescue the world, only to outlive it. That's when they met her, Dr. Alara Chen, once a senior systems architect for node operations, now a fugitive living in the tunnels. She'd been down there 6 years. She told them the truth the archive only hinted at. The $21 trillion wasn't lost. It was redirected, funneled through shell corporations, military contractors, climate research black sites, all under the direction of a group she called the Vanguard. A cabal, not just bureaucrats or CEOs, but planners, engineers of collapse. They're not waiting for disaster. They're going to start it. A global event, blamed on a cyber war, an EMP, something surgical, controlled. They need a reason to go underground and leave everyone else behind. Chen whispered. Alara had been part of the problem. She'd built sections of Node 1, the Atlantic hub. But when she tried to leak specs, the Vanguard hunted her. She survived by jumping transport between nodes, using blind spots in the system's routing. She thought she was safe in 17. But the system had started waking up again. As Lena and Marcus tried to process it all, the city changed. Lights turned colder. Doors that once opened now locked behind them. Surveillance drones buzzed louder. And then came a name neither of them expected to hear. James Voss, Lena's father, still alive, logged into Node 1's engineering deck. The man she'd spent a decade mourning was alive and possibly working under the very people who'd erased him. But that wasn't the only shock. Alara had a plan. She didn't want to leak data. She wanted to sabotage the nodes, shut them down permanently, even if it meant triggering global blackouts, even if millions would die without the elite's hidden tech. She believed the vaults were a curse, not a salvation, and she wanted Lena to help destroy them. Lena now stood between 2 impossible choices: expose the system and risk nothing changing, or destroy it and risk everything. And through it all, Marcus had started acting strange. Quiet. Too quiet. Something was off. But we'll get to that. Because before the betrayal, before the reactor overload, they had to reach Node 1. The heart of it all. The command vault. The place where extinction might already be scripted. They boarded the maglev at midnight. Node 17 to Node 1. Desert to ocean floor. No stops. No announcements. Just velocity. According to Alara, Node 1 was the central command hub, built under the mid-Atlantic ridge, hidden beneath miles of reinforced pressure domes and geothermal vents. They called it the Crown. The system called it Prime. If the Vanguard existed anywhere in physical form, it was there. Node 1 was different. If 17 felt like a luxury retreat, 1 felt ancient, colder, less human. Glowing walls pulsed like they were alive, bioluminescent circuits feeding off deep-sea energy. The sky was black glass, showing the ocean above like a false ceiling. And the city wasn't empty. It was waiting. In a calm, clear, and neutral female voice, with a precise and slightly synthetic cadence. Node 1 online. Welcome. Cycle initiation commencing in T-minus 72 hours. Surface destabilization process underway. Destabilization, the first stage of the Vanguard's event. Not a war, not a natural disaster. An EMP, electromagnetic pulse, large enough to fry communication networks, knock out infrastructure, and send the surface world back into the dark while the elite slip below unnoticed. A silent apocalypse, surgical, reversible for them, permanent for everyone else. And then they found him, James Voss, still alive, still working. He didn't speak at first, just stared at Lena, hollow-eyed like he hadn't seen a sunrise in 10 years. He'd been held in Node 1 as a clearance-retained asset, in other words, useful, but expendable. They let him live because he knew too much to kill and not enough to escape. He'd tried to sabotage early systems, tried to warn someone, but the Vanguard had shut him down, kept him plugged into the grid like a ghost in a server. He gave Lena the last piece of the puzzle, a kill switch buried in Node 1's reactor core. Overload it, and the cascading failure would knock the entire Vault network offline. Permanently. It would stop the EMP, but it would also destabilize several nodes already occupied, including ones holding refugee scientists, children, even whistleblowers. Collateral. That's when Marcus turned. He pulled a gun, told Lena to back away from the core, said he'd been contacted after their break-in at Node 17, that the Vanguard had offered him a seat, clearance, legacy. We can't stop the world from burning, he said, but we don't have to burn with it. He wasn't bluffing, but he hesitated, just long enough for Alara to move. She grabbed the control rods and initiated the overload sequence herself. The alarm screamed. The AI tried to intervene, but she'd coded around it years ago. She was ready to die. From an audio log fragment, Chen's final words, "Tell them everything. Don't let the silence win." Lena and her father ran. Marcus disappeared into the system. Whether he died in the overload or escaped into another node, we don't know. But Lena made it to the uplink station. She used the broadcast array, not for data, but for a story. She told the world everything. The nodes, the vault, the Vanguard. She released the names, the schematics, even the classified videos of the first vault tests. It went viral in under an hour. Fragmented news reports flood the airwaves, a cacophony of overlapping voices. Calls for immediate arrests echo through the chaos. Leaked footage reveals hidden entrances beneath major cities. Mass protests ignite in Washington, Berlin, Tokyo. Reports confirm some vaults already sealed. Governments issue denials of involvement. Claims circulate that the Vanguard is nothing but a myth. Some nodes went dark. Some were stormed by civilians. Others sealed themselves shut. The Vanguard vanished. But they left enough behind to know this. They were never building a bunker. They were building a new world, one beneath the bones of the old, and maybe they still are. Lena and her father are ghosts now. Last known sighting, a safe house in Nova Scotia. No digital trail, no transmissions, just the occasional envelope, a new node location, a list of names, a warning. There are rumors now. Quakes beneath London, strange lights under the Mojave, and a report from a seismologist in Manila who picked up a signal encoded in deep earth vibration patterns. Morse code. 3 words. We are waiting. The vaults aren't empty. The vanguard isn't gone, and the next extinction event might not be natural at all. This has been the Void Desk, Sleep Light, and if you hear the ground hum, don't follow it.